Well, hello there. Glad you could stop by. Welcome to video 43 in my AnyRail tutorial series. Now in this video, we're going to talk about how to make custom libraries for your parts. Now this video came about because I was asked if there was a way to add scenery to your drawings like you can do in, say, AnyRail or Third Planet. I said I wasn't sure, but it sure sounded like it'd be fun to find out. Now we won't get into scenery building in this video, but as I was playing around with the concept, I found that I was constantly looking for scenery elements such as cars, trees, and plants in the AnyRail libraries. And it quickly became evident that there are thousands of drawings in the AnyRail libraries, but there is no index for all of them. So I started searching through all the libraries by just coming up here and going in, clicking on a library, and looking to see what was in it. And then when I found what I wanted, I would move on to the next library. And sure enough, in the very first library, I found this tree or bush or whatever the heck it is. It's green, so it must be a plant of some type, or a tree. And I said, well, that's cool, but if there are other objects like this in other libraries, how am I going to keep track of all of them when I'm adding scenery? So that led me to thinking about how I could create a new library to put all of the scenery items in. Now in a previous video, we were making a building, and I was also talking about how to edit user objects and then save them. At the time I said I didn't know how to create a custom library for any new parts that you made. What I tried to do at first was go into the folder on my computer where all of the AnyRail libraries live, and I just said make new folder, and then I looked at the user object tab in AnyRail, and of course there was no new folder. It just did not work. So for this video, I started playing around with trying to make a custom library, and I think I sort of figured it out. Now, before we go any further, let me warn you, if you are not comfortable with digging into your computer and into the folders where programs reside, don't do anything that I am going to show you. Because if you are not careful, it is possible that you can erase things and cause AnyRail, or if you really screw up, parts of other programs not to function, and that would really ruin your day. Now, let me repeat this, and please heed my warning. If you are not comfortable with going into the file structure of your computer, stop right now and ignore this video. It is possible that you could erase the wrong thing and render AnyRail or any other program inoperable. Now, I have warned you twice now, and I am not responsible if you do not heed my warnings and damage your computer. And I want to point out that the creators of AnyRail are not responsible if you screw up your computer. If you follow any of what I do here, any mistakes you make are your own and not mine. So if you want to make your own libraries like I will show you here, you do so at your own risk. And I have it up here on the screen as well that you do this at your own risk. So don't hold me responsible and don't hold the folks at AnyRail responsible if you screw up your computer or your programs in any way, shape, or form. Okay, are we good? All right, let's see how you can make a custom library. Now, I went through the AnyRail forum to see if there was any info on creating your own library, and I couldn't find any information. Now, if there is info there on the forums, I apologize. I just couldn't find it because I am absolutely terrible at searching forums. I'll type something into the search box that makes perfect sense to me, like I'll search for the word AnyRail, and the search will always come back telling me that there were no results. Forum searches and I just don't play nicely together. All right, here we go. I have 3 items up here on the screen. Over here on the left, I have an AnyRail screen open. Now, in the middle, I am looking at my computer. And on the far right, this is where AnyRail keeps all of the object libraries. And I'm going to show you how to get there. So the first thing you want to do, if your computer is like mine, you want to go to your local disk. And in that case, it is my C drive. And as you can see, the C drive is getting a little low on storage space. I'm going to have to do something about that soon. So I'm going to double click on that. And then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to go to Users. Then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to go to this folder that has a little bit of my last name in it. And I'm going to double click on that. And then I want to find the folder named App Data. And that's right down here. And if you look at it, it looks like it's grayed out, but you can still get into it. So let's double click on that. And then we're going to go to Local. And then we'll come down, find AnyRail, and click on that. Now, there are 3 folders in the AnyRail app data folder. The first one is autosave, and if you click on that, it's kind of cool because there are all your autosave drawings, and it seems to go back a couple of 100 years, but we're not interested in that. Let's go back here. Now, log, I don't know what log is, and I told you this could be dangerous messing around in here if you don't know what something is, but we want to open this folder down here. UDO-REPOS 500 or UDO repos 500. So let's click on that. And there we find all of the different libraries for the different scales. And since I'm working in HO, I'm going to click on HO. And look, there are all of the libraries. In fact, I'm going to go over here because we're going to need this screen open like that. And I'm going to scroll down here. And you can see down here that I've already added several libraries. I have vehicles construction, vehicles military, vehicles personal, vehicles utility, and then up here I have another library that I made, and it's called scenery plants. Now, I'm not going to show you how I made these 5 libraries. I'm going to show you how to make another library, and you can use that info to then create and arrange your own custom libraries. The library that we're going to want to create is going to have locomotives and rolling stock in it. Now, this is going to be a really long and time-consuming job to move all of the objects that you want into a custom folder. I couldn't find an easier way to do it, and I tried, but I just couldn't come up with anything. Now, of course, once you have made a custom folder, you can save any new objects that you create into it. But copying existing objects to a custom folder, that does take a bit of time. Now, there may be a lot of files that you want to move around, and if you look over here into this folder called Dash, for some reason, you'll see that there are a ton of files in here. Now, for this demo, we're going to concern ourselves with these parts right here, the locomotives and the rolling stock. We're going to make a custom folder, and we're just going to copy a couple of them into that folder, and that should give you a good idea on how you can do this yourself. All right, so let's say we want to copy this one right here, this number 365 diesel, and we want to copy that into a new library called rolling stock. Now, this is the only way I've found to be able to make a library, and it's a little convoluted, but it actually goes fairly fast. Now, the first thing you need to do is you need to select an object. And I'm going to select an object that we want to put into our rolling stock library. So I will select this 365 diesel. I'm going to select it, and it pops up on our screen just like this. So now we want to highlight it. I'm just going to drag a window around it. And then I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to click on Modify Object. All right. And you'll notice that it's not highlighted anymore. That's because I can now go in and modify each and every piece that makes up this drawing. But all we need to do is select it again, just like that, draw a window around it, and then say Save as Object. So we'll click on that. And this nice little window pops up. So a slight edit there. I got all the way to the end of the video, went back and reviewed it, and discovered that my wonderful Behringer audio mixer, the power plug decided to come loose. So I was talking away and there was no sound being recorded. So we're gonna pick it up right here. Okay, so now we're going to fill in all of the details in this window. And I think you need to put all of the details in to make it work, but don't hold me to that statement. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to select a category. And we'll click on that, and that looks like a train. So that looks like it should be the right category. So it is now a train. And now we have to set the scale. So we will come in here and we will say it is HO. And let's give it a name. And we're just going to call this Test Engine 1. Now, the next thing we're going to do is the place where we are actually going to make our new library. So you're going to want to select the name of your library with care. Now, instead of coming over here, see where it says manufacturer, this is where we're going to put in the name for our library. Instead of using the drop-down menu over here, I'm just going to type in the name of the library that I want to create. And in this case, I'm going to call it rolling stock. And then it's going to ask us for a part number. So we can put in any number we want. So let's just put in a fake number like that. Then it wants a description. And we're just going to call it test engine 1 again. And over here where it says author, that's where you're going to put your John Hancock so you'll know who made it. And then all we have to do is hit OK. Now watch over here and right around here between Rocco and Scale Structures Limited, when I hit OK, rolling stock should appear. Let's see what happens. Oh, look at that. It actually worked. Now I can come over here and I can open this up and I can see that we have a file in here. There's our library and there's the file that we just made. And if you look at it, you'll see that the file name is not what you would expect. It looks to be a bunch of hex numbers, but we're going to go over that a little bit more in a second. So now let's go over here to User Objects in AnyRail. And we're going to click on HO. And then we're going to go and open the tab where the letter R would be. So it's going to be in this section right here between Markland and Sierra West. So let's click on that. Come down here. And there's our library. And we'll click on that. It opens up. And there's our test engine. So let's move this guy down. And I can click on it. And it pops right in. Now when you think about it, making a new library is just so very, very obvious. But I just missed it when I was making the earlier videos. So now you know how to make a custom library. So let's start putting some rolling stock into our new library. Now, I don't think you can make subfolders, meaning that I don't think I could have a folder that is named rolling stock /engines or /boxcars or gondolas or whatever. So that's why earlier I showed you that I started each new library name for vehicles with the word vehicles. I had vehicles construction, vehicles military, vehicles personal, and vehicles utility. That way, all of my vehicle libraries would be grouped together. Now I'm going to come over here, I'm going to erase these two guys, make them go away, and I'm also going to lose the library that we made. And then I'm going to come up here to User Objects, HO, and I'm going to open up that library that is named Dash. Now I don't know if you may have that or not. This may be something that I did long ago and don't remember that I actually made this library, but I think it's a library that comes with AnyRail. So anyway, let's open that one up. And then I'm going to come over here to my middle screen and I'm going to open up that same library here so that I can see all of the file names. Now before we go any further, let's discuss what I've figured out about object file names. Now, as you can see, if you look in here, there are two different types of files. Well, actually, there are three types of files, but we're not going to concern ourselves with the text document file. Now, the first type of file has this little page icon associated with it, and a bunch of hex numbers after it. And if you look over here under type, it says it's a Sudro file. Now, what Sudro really means, I have no idea. But a Sudro file is a user object that is supplied by AnyRail when you download one of their libraries. Does it mean supplied user-defined railroad object? Maybe. I don't know. Now, the other type of file that you're going to find in here is defined by this icon, which is the AnyRail icon. And you'll notice that it is called a UDRO file. And maybe that means user-defined railroad object. Again, I don't know. But if it has an AnyRail icon, it means that this is an object you have created, or at least this is what I have observed while creating, custom objects. And as you can see, if you look over here in our new library, this file, which started life as a Sudro file, is now an UDRO file and has the AnyRail icon. And I believe that's because AnyRail thinks that this is an object that you designed and saved. Now, what do the file extensions really mean? I don't know. Who knows? It's not something that we really need to know. And probably, if we did know, they would probably have to kill us for knowing. Now, I want to come back over here, and I want to find out what the file name is for this locomotive. Now I can click on it and let it appear over here in the drawing area and then call up its details. But I found that it's easier to just come over here, hover over the item, right click, and ask for the details. And up it pops. And then if you look down here, you'll see the file path for this object. And as you can see, it's c/users/wigfi /appdata/local/AnyRail/udo repos500 /ho/dash, and then here is the actual file name. And I can move that over a little bit so we can see the whole thing. So let me highlight the file name here, just like that. All right, so now I want to come over to this window here. And I want to make sure that I have these in some kind of order. So I can come up here and I can click on name. And you'll notice that it flips everything around. And now we're starting with F and working our way down. If I click on name again, right there, it pops everything back. And now we're starting with 00. Now, not all of the libraries may start with 00. They might start with another number, or they might start with a letter. But you want to make sure that you have them in some kind of order, so you're always starting with that lowest whatever, number or letter. Okay, then I come over here and I look at my file. And I see that it starts with 43. And it's actually 43D0AFF7. So I'm going to go and look for 43AD0. And I'm going to look for that over here. Now let's see if we can find it. Sometimes I go right by them and I don't see them, but I think I just saw it. There it is. 43D0AFF7. And it's the only file that starts with 43. So we're pretty sure that we've got the right item here. So I can come up here. I can click on that. And I can do this two ways. I can do a Control C to copy it, and then come over here, click in this file folder and do a Control V to paste it. Or I can right click and say copy, then come over here, right click and say paste. And there it is. And you'll notice that when it came in this time, because we copied from this folder, it came in with that page icon and it came in as a Sudro file. Now, one thing you want to be careful of, if you're going to right click and copy that way, just make sure that as you're going along here, you don't click the wrong thing. If you click delete, it's going to be gone. If you hit cut, well, that's okay because you can paste it back in with a Control V. But you want to be careful, and this is one of those places where you might screw something up. So personally, I think I would, let me go over here and click that. I think I just come over here, highlight the file, and then do a Control C, then come over here, click in here, and do a Control V. And then that way, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to erase my original file. All right, so now we have our file copied over here, but let's copy in a couple of other pieces of rolling stock. So I'm going to come over here. I'm just going to hit OK on this to make that go away. And then I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to say, I want to copy, this looks good, this HO boxcar right here. So I'm going to right click, hit details, and over here, I'm not going to scroll over and show you the whole number. We don't need it. We just need these beginning digits here. So this starts with 931. So it's a 93139. So let's come over here and see if we can find 93139. So I'm going to scroll down. And I think I saw it here somewhere. There it is. 93139AD4. And if you come over here, it matches. So, okay, let's do that. I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to do a Control C. I'm going to come over here, click over here, do a Control V. There it is. Came in, again, as a Sudro file. Now, I'm going to hit OK, and let's bring in one more item here. What looks good? How about this? Caboose, generic. It sounds pretty common, so let's use that. Oops, I left-clicked instead of right-clicked. Doesn't really matter. Now I will right-click, hit details, and it is a CBF6B file. So let's see if we can find CBF6B. And I'm going to scroll down. Here we go, CBF6B 8BE. And yes, that matches. Highlight it, Control C, come over here, Control V, and there we go. Now, one thing I did notice when I was screwing up on the original recording of this, when the mixer decided to die, I grabbed a file at random and I put it in. And it seemed to be another car. And that kind of got me to thinking, does the file structure here, how they're laid out here, does it follow over here? Meaning that where we started with this diesel locomotive, are all these files not sequential, but do they follow in order from over here? I don't know. If you do know, leave a comment and let the rest of us know about that. All right, let me erase this. And let's lose this library. And now we have 3 items, actually 4 items, in our new library over here. So let's go open up that library and take a look at it. So we'll go to User Objects, HO. Again, we're looking for the library that starts with R, so it would be in here. Rolling stock. Let's open it up, and it only shows 1 item. Why is that? Well, it appears for some reason AnyRail wants you to close the program and then open it again to update the libraries. Now, is there a workaround for that? I don't know. But if you do know, leave a comment and let the rest of us in on the secret. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to just close this out. No, I don't want to save changes. Come down here. I'm going to open AnyRail again. And there are all of our copied items. Remind me tomorrow. So now I can go look in the other object libraries, and I can find other rolling stock, and I can copy them into our new rolling stock library. Now, it's going to take a bit of time to organize objects this way. Like I said earlier, there appears to be no index for the libraries. You just have to go through the libraries one at a time and find the object that you want. And you could make several custom libraries at the start of that process. And then as you go through all of the user object libraries, you can just copy whatever you need and paste it to whatever new library you feel an object should be in. Okay, so now you know how to make a custom library and copy and arrange objects in it. I think this is going to come in handy in the next video where I attempt, and let's emphasize the word attempt, to add scenery to my drawing. And if it doesn't help with the scenery, well, we now know a little bit more about how to use AnyRail. So we'll see you next time.